A lot of Black Americans think the car is helping them move up. But for a lot of us, the car is the thing keeping us stuck. Not because cars are bad, not because wanting something nice is a crime, but because the car has become one of the most expensive lies in Black financial life. It looks like freedom. It feels like status. It signals success. But behind that image is often a monthly payment, overpriced insurance, high interest, surprise repairs, and years of being trapped in a bill that keeps wealth from ever getting started. And the worst part? A lot of people don't realize they're car poor until the car has already taken over their whole budget.
Being car poor means your car costs so much that it quietly stops everything else in your life. You can make the note, you can cover insurance, you can buy gas, but you can't really save. You can't really invest. You can't really breathe. And this problem is getting worse. Experian reported that in the first quarter of 2026, the average monthly payment for a new vehicle hit $770, while the average used car payment reached $531. The average loan amount for a new vehicle climbed to $43,925, and the average new car loan stretched to about 69.5 months. That's not just transportation anymore. That's a second rent bill on wheels.
And this conversation matters in a specifically Black way. Because for a lot of Black Americans, the car is not just a purchase. It's tied to dignity, safety, mobility, image, opportunity, and sometimes survival. A lot of Black workers rely heavily on transportation systems that still don't serve our neighborhoods well. The Institute for Transportation and Development Policy notes that Black and Hispanic workers are nearly 3 times as likely to use public transit as white workers, while housing near strong transit is often significantly more expensive. In other words, many Black Americans are pushed into a lose-lose setup: weak transit where they can afford to live, and high car dependence where they need to go. So when Black folks overspend on cars, it's not always just bad decisions. Sometimes it's what happens when mobility itself has become unequal. But now let's go deeper, because there's also a psychological trap. For a lot of Black people, the car is one of the few status symbols that feels immediate and visible. You pull up, people see it. They assume things. They respect it. They stop asking questions. And when you come from a history of being underestimated, disrespected, or treated like you have nothing, that feeling can be powerful. The car starts to mean more than a car. It becomes proof. Proof that you made it. Proof that you're not struggling. Proof that nobody can play with you. But the moment your identity gets tied to the vehicle, you stop buying transportation and start buying emotional relief. And emotional relief is expensive when it comes with interest. The dealer trap. They sell the payment, not the price. This is where a lot of Black buyers get trapped. Dealerships rarely lead with the total cost. They lead with one question: what monthly payment do you want? That sounds harmless. It is not harmless. Because once the deal is built around the monthly payment, they can stretch the loan, raise the interest, bury fees, and make a terrible deal look affordable. Experian found that more than 35% of new car loans in Q1 2026 had terms longer than 6 years, and even ultra-long loans above 85 months kept growing. That is how people buy cars they cannot really afford. Not because they're stupid, because the system is designed to make a long-term burden look like a short-term win. Now let's talk about something even uglier. Black Americans are not just struggling with expensive cars. Many are paying more for those cars because of discrimination inside the financing process. Research highlighted by the Federal Reserve Bank of Chicago found that Black borrowers in indirect auto lending were disproportionately charged the maximum allowable dealer markup of 2.0 percentage points, while white borrowers most commonly got no markup at all. That difference added nearly $1,400 in extra interest over the life of a typical loan. So let's stop pretending this is always just about discipline. Sometimes Black people are entering the same market and getting hit with a worse deal before the car even leaves the lot. That matters.
And then comes insurance. This is where the pain gets even more disrespectful. Because even if you are a safe driver, where you live can affect what you pay. ProPublica found evidence that in some states, drivers in majority-minority neighborhoods were charged significantly higher premiums than drivers in whiter neighborhoods with similar accident costs. In Illinois, 33 out of 34 insurers charged at least 10% more on average for the same safe driver in minority zip codes than in comparable white neighborhoods. So imagine this. You already paid more for the car loan. Now you may be paying more to insure the car too. That's not just expensive, that's a wealth drain. This is why so many Black households feel like they make decent money but still can't get ahead. Because the real cost of the car is never just the note. AAA reported that the average annual cost of owning and operating a new vehicle came to $11,577, or about $964.78 a month. And depreciation was still the single biggest cost, with vehicles losing an average of $4,334 in value per year. So even while you're paying all that money, the car is still going down in value. That's the part people ignore. You are making big monthly sacrifices for an asset that is actively shrinking.
This is where the bigger Black wealth story comes in. If your extra money is always going into a car note, insurance, gas, and repairs, then that money never gets the chance to become anything else. No emergency fund, no investing, no business capital, no down payment, no breathing room. The car becomes the center of your financial life. And the problem is, the car looks successful while your bank account stays fragile. That is the trap. The car lets you perform wealth while preventing wealth. And a lot of Black families have been stuck in that exact contradiction for years. Now, let's talk solutions. First, separate your identity from the car. Your car is a tool, not your self-worth, not your proof of progress, not your personality. Second, stop shopping by monthly payment. Shop by total cost, purchase price, interest rate, insurance, gas, maintenance, depreciation. Third, buy less car than your ego wants. A smaller, boring, reliable car can create a bigger life than a flashy car that keeps you broke. Fourth, get pre-approved before you step on a lot. AAA specifically advises buyers to obtain pre-approval from a bank or credit union before discussing financing with a dealer. Fifth, shop insurance aggressively. Don't assume loyalty saves money. And finally, if the car is crushing your future, be honest enough to downsize. That is not a failure. That is financial maturity.